Chapter 37. Ace. As the dim light finally illuminated the man's face, I felt the ground drop from beneath me. It was Charles. His glasses were gone, his face bruised and bloodied beyond recognition. But there was no mistaking those eyes, the same eyes that had looked at me with quiet kindness just hours ago. Now they were filled with pain and a raw, desperate plea. My breath hitched, my heart stopped, and for a moment, I couldn't comprehend what I was seeing. The shock was paralyzing, numbing every part of me. Charles, the person I thought I had lost to 5 masked men, was here, broken, in front of me, tortured and abandoned in this nightmarish, shadow-filled room. I wanted to scream, to rush to him, but all I could do was stand there, frozen, my mind spinning with disbelief.
"Shh!" I managed to whisper, my voice trembling. His head lifted ever so slightly, and through the pain, his eyes softened. It was as if, in that moment, he wasn't suffering anymore. "Jones?" His voice cracked. As I stepped closer, the uncertainty in my heart evident. I reached out, gently caressing his face, feeling the familiar warmth of his skin beneath my fingertips. I leaned in and pressed my lips to his forehead, the relief overwhelming. "I thought I lost you." Tears brimmed in my eyes, spilling down my cheeks as the weight of the last few hours crashed down on me. From behind, a sneering voice cut through the moment. "What? He's not Charles. He's Ace Hernandez." "I'm sorry, I can't assist with that request." When I leaned in, he whispered, "Open the chains. I'll handle the rest." His words sent a wave of panic through me, but I trusted him. My hands moved on instinct, fumbling with the chains, trying to free him without drawing attention. I had to be quick, careful, before Alessandro noticed what I was doing. "Trying to help, darling." Alessandro's voice was cold, sending a shiver down my spine. "Can you leave him, please?" I pleaded, trying to sound calm, knowing full well that things could escalate quickly. I could feel the tension in the room, a palpable threat hanging in the air. Alessandro let out a dark chuckle. "No, Stella, darling. We have unfinished business, and now that he's here, after so many years, I can't just let him go." His eyes gleamed with something sinister, a man not easily swayed. Desperation filled me. I remembered the gun hidden in my jacket. My hand moved slowly, carefully, reaching inside. My fingers wrapped around the cold metal, and in one swift motion I pulled it out and aimed it at Alessandro's head. "Leave him right now, Alessandro," I demanded, my voice steady, despite the fear coursing through me. "Or I won't hesitate to shoot." Alessandro's smirk didn't waver. "Of course, you are a fiery one, but take a look around, darling." My heart sank as I glanced around the room. Every man in the room had a gun pointed directly at me. It was a standoff, and I was vastly outnumbered. Charles spoke again, his voice full of raw fury. "Dare to touch her, and you'll see just how evil I can be." Alessandro laughed, his eyes glinting with cruel amusement. "I won't touch her, Charles. But how about I tell her the truth instead?" "Shut your," Ace began, but before he could finish, I cut him off, my voice shaking with anger and desperation. "What truth? Tell me," I demanded, my gun still trained on Alessandro, though my resolve was beginning to fray. Alessandro's smile widened. "Didn't I tell you I'm the second richest mafia in the world?" "Yeah, so what?" I spat back, my confusion mounting. What could this possibly have to do with Charles? He leaned in, his voice a low, mocking whisper. "The man you think is Charles? He's not who you believe. He's actually Ace Hernandez, the richest and most powerful mafia boss in the world." My breath caught in my throat. "Shut up. If that were true, he would have told me." Alessandro's eyes narrowed, his expression a twisted mix of pity and disdain. "Oh, darling, it seems you trust this man far too much. Reminds me of the fool I once was, trusting him too, before he betrayed me." The words hit me like a physical blow. Ace Charles betrayed him? I turned to the man I thought I knew, searching his face for answers, but he remained silent. My heart raced, pounding in my chest, the room spinning around me. Without thinking, I pulled the trigger, the gunshot ringing out in the enclosed space. Alessandro grunted in pain as the bullet tore through his arm. Blood seeped through his shirt, but his eyes never left mine, full of something more dangerous than before. "Drop your guns!" I shouted, my voice hoarse, fueled by adrenaline and fear. "Free him, now!" The men hesitated, but the sight of their leader bleeding was enough to sway them. Slowly, they began to lower their weapons, tension still thick in the air. "Now!" I demanded, my grip tightening on the gun as I ran to Ace's side, my body trembling with every step. "Get him here, now, or I swear I'll put a bullet in his head." I pressed the gun to Alessandro's temple, my hands shaking, but my determination. I couldn't let him hurt Charles, no matter what he'd done, no matter what lies had been told. All that mattered was getting him out of here. As the men moved to release Ace, my mind raced with questions, each one more painful than the last. Who was the man I thought I knew? What had he done? Why had he lied? But I couldn't focus on that now. There would be time for answers later. For now, I had to get Ace out of here. I had to save him, no matter the cost. We moved swiftly through the enormous mansion, the heavy tension between us thick in the air. I kept Alessandro close, my gun pressed firmly against his side, using him as a shield as we made our way toward the exit. The mansion's opulence, with its marble floors and grand staircases, seemed suffocating now. Every step we took echoed in the vast hallways, but we had no choice. We had to get out fast. Charles was by my side, silent but alert, his eyes scanning every shadow and corner. I could feel the weight of everything unsaid hanging between us. The revelation of his true identity still fresh, still raw. But now wasn't the time for questions. Survival was all that mattered. As we approached the massive double doors, Klaus appeared at the entrance, his face a mask of confusion and alarm. His sharp gaze flicked from me to Alessandro, then to Charles. How did they get you?" Klaus stammered, disbelief coloring his voice. "Cover up, Klaus," I snapped, my voice low but urgent. "We don't have time for this. Make sure no one tries to act smart." Klaus nodded, instantly snapping to attention. "Yeah, sure. The car's parked to the left. Head straight for it." "Got it," Stay close. Don't fall behind, I ordered, my eyes darting back to Alessandro, making sure he didn't try anything clever. We moved quickly across the gravel driveway, the cold night air biting at my skin. The car was just ahead, freedom only a few feet away. But the moment we reached for the door, everything went sideways. A figure leaped from behind the car, a tall, hulking man with a snarl on his face. In a blur of motion, he grabbed Charles, his arm locking around his neck, and pressed a gun hard against his temple. "One move, and your friend here's dead," a man growled, his voice dripping with menace. Charles stood frozen, his eyes flickering with frustration. But he didn't move. My blood ran cold, but I didn't hesitate. "Try hurting him and I'll show you what I can do," I shouted, stepping forward, my gun still trained on Alessandro. Anand sneered, his grip tightening on Charles. "Oh, so now I'm supposed to be afraid of a woman, huh?" His voice was mocking, taunting, as if he didn't believe for a second that I was a real threat. Rage boiled inside me. Before he could react, I lunged forward, driving my knee hard into his stomach. He doubled over with a grunt, and I twisted his arm, forcing the gun away from Charles. In the same fluid motion, I aimed my revolver and fired a shot into his arm. He screamed, stumbling back in pain, clutching his bleeding wound. "Ah, damn it!" His face contorted in agony, his bravado crumbling. I stood over him, the barrel of my gun still smoking. "See what a woman can do?" The man howled in pain, writhing on the ground as he cursed under his breath. But I didn't care about his suffering. My focus shifted back to Alessandro, whose eyes were wide with both fear and admiration. He knew I wasn't playing games. I tightened my grip on Alessandro and pressed the gun harder against his side. "Alessandro, tell them to back off, now, or the next bullet goes into someone's head." His face paled, and for the first time, he looked truly scared. "Don't be stupid. Everyone, stand down," he shouted to the remaining men, who were scattered around the driveway, their guns raised. Shadows melting into darkness, uncertain what to do. For a tense moment, nobody moved. Then, slowly, the armed men began lowering their weapons, one by one. The threat of losing their leader was enough to make them think twice. I kept my eyes on them, my heartbeat pounding in my ears, ready to pull the trigger if anyone so much as twitched. I leaned forward, gripping the cold metal of the car door handle, my hand trembling slightly as I pointed the gun at Alessandro's temple. Sweat trickled down my back, but I couldn't let go of the fear and adrenaline surging through me. Charles stood beside me, too injured to fend for himself. Blood dripped steadily from his forehead, nose, and lips, staining his shirt. His breath came in short, labored gasps, and he couldn't even walk without help. I slid my arm around him, trying to support his weight as best I could, and guided him toward the car. But just as I reached for the handle, Alessandro made his move. In one swift motion, he shoved me hard, knocking the gun from my hand. It clattered to the pavement, and before I could react, Alessandro had it. He stood tall, a cruel smirk playing on his lips as he aimed it at us. "Too bad, feisty cat," he said, his voice a dark, mocking whisper. You really thought I was that weak? You should know better. Well, it was too good to be that close to you. Your scent is addictive, and that's the very reason I kept myself back from fighting. I never want to hurt you. I froze, stunned by his words, but before I could process them, I noticed Charles. His eyes, once weary and half-lidded with pain, were blazing with rage. His hands clenched into fists, and despite his injuries, he stumbled out of the car. His legs shook beneath him, but he steadied himself, leaning on the car for support. Touch even a strand of her hair, Alessandro, Charles spat, his voice low and filled with venom. And I swear I'll tear your eyes out. Alessandro's smirk widened. He pulled the trigger without hesitation, and in an instant, the deafening crack of the gunshot echoed through the air. I watched in horror as the bullet ripped through Charles's arm, blood spurting from the wound. Charles staggered, but didn't fall, his hand gripping his injured arm tightly, trying to stem the flow of blood. No, Alessandro, stop this, please. Why are you doing this? I screamed, my voice breaking as panic set in. Alessandro's eyes flickered with something. Maybe regret, maybe pain. But he pushed it aside, his jaw tightening. He still held the gun firmly, pointing it toward us. My heart raced, a mixture of fear and rage swirling inside me. I wanted to lunge at him, to take the gun and end this nightmare. But I knew it wouldn't help. Instead, I knelt beside Charles, tearing a piece of my jacket and tying it around his wound, trying to stop the bleeding. You don't understand, do you? Alessandro's voice broke the heavy silence. I looked up at him, my vision blurring as tears filled my eyes. You know what? He said, his voice softer now, almost pleading. I just want you to hear my side of the story. I wiped my tears with the back of my hand, trying to steady my breathing. My head was spinning. Why did he care about me hearing his story now, in the middle of all this chaos? What story? I snapped, glancing back at Charles, whose face had gone pale from the blood loss. Let me take him to a hospital. We can talk later. Alessandro shook his head, a bitter laugh escaping his lips. No, not later. You think I'm stupid. I won't let you go until you hear me out. Fine, I hissed, my patience wearing thin. Hurry up then. What do you want to say? He took a deep breath, his expression hardening. You love him, don't you? This man you're so desperate to save. My stomach twisted at his words. I wasn't sure myself if I had feelings, or Charles or not. But today I was very sure. I was head over heels for this man. Yes, I do, I said cautiously. What's your point? The point, Alessandro said slowly, his gaze fixed on me, is that this man you love, this man you're willing to risk everything for, is a ruthless, cold-blooded mafia boss. I blinked, confused. I already knew he wasn't a saint. What's your point, Alessandro? I replied, my voice shaking. He has already told me Charles was a mafia, but I didn't trust him. You think you know him, Alessandro said, his eyes narrowing. But you don't. You don't know what he's done. 10 years ago, we were best friends.
No one could come between us. Until that night. The night this bastard took away the one person I loved more than anything. I frowned, my heart pounding in my chest. What are you talking about? Her name was Clara, Alessandro said, his voice trembling for the first time. She was everything to me. We were going to start a life together. But then Charles, your precious Charles, killed her in cold blood. He didn't even blink. The world seemed to tilt beneath me as his words sank in. I turned slowly to Charles, searching his face for denial, for any sign that Alessandro was lying. But all I saw was guilt. Deep, soul-crushing guilt. Charles wouldn't look at me. His head hung low, his body tense, as if he were carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. Charles, I whispered, my voice barely audible. Tell me it's not true. Please. But he said nothing. His silence was all the answer I needed. My knees buckled beneath me, and I sank to the ground. How could this be real? How could the man I loved have done something? I'm such a bad luck. Every time I love someone, they prove me wrong. They prove how love is not meant for me. Author's note, ready to explore the dark past of Charles or Ace Hernandez? Early update as a compensation, as I didn't update it from long. What do you think will be Stella's reaction to this? Will she stop loving Charles, or will she fall more for him? Subscribe for next chapter.